back, folks, to another episode of Fancy Tickles. As you can see, to my left, we got Sean back for the night, which is good because I think I'm dying. So I'll have like little squirts of words in there, and then as my voice breaks to being a teenager, we'll
get a good laugh out of it.
Yeah, and also, if you're brand spanking new to the show, this here's Jim, and I'm Bryce. He'll probably put some cool little names down upon the bottom. Production will take care of that.
We'll get some newscaster lines going down there.
Oh, that'd be so sweet. What I want is like one of those little roller things like on Sports Center, but I want it to be random shit. Like random the current price of palladium and like
just random
stock markety sports things like today in Quidditch, and like that kind of shit where like if people really were paying attention to the little scrolly, they'd be like, what the fuck did that just say? Who won the Quidditch Cup?
The price of splurching toys has gone up.
That's right. Splurching toys. Fuck, I forgot about those. I'm gonna have a dream about that. I have been doing that lately.
Dreaming
So I'm not. I've been splurching myself. No. Ooh, gross. Ew.
Round ice cubes fit a lot better than square ones,
I learned that later on.
Well,
But damn it, I just fucking lost it.
Dreaming lately.
Oh yeah, so there's like a lot of things you can do to like cause yourself to dream. One of them is not smoke marijuana as much, which that wasn't gonna happen in particular. So I went the other way, and like apple juice and cranberry juice and cran apple juice and all those kind of like concentrated, cheap ocean spray style ones. There's something in those things that can cause you to dream more. And I was like, and I had tried this like months ago or whatever, and it works. Like it super works. Like it doesn't always work, but when you do drink, like just for bed, I'll do like big old giant pull off the apple juice jug thing, and then get to bed, and I've had some pretty fucking wicked dreams.
Huh.
Can you take control of your dreams?
I've only done that a couple
to a certain
times.
Degree.
Once I recognize that I'm asleep, but it doesn't wake me up.
Yeah.
Like I did it like one time when I was a kid. I used to go to school in Stoughton, and so the point is like right across the street. And of course, I'm assuming now that it was like I wanted to not be at school. I wanted to escape and be free. So like in the dream, I run, and I run through the front doors of school, right across the highway, across the grass, just straight towards the river, and I like jumped, and I like started to like float a little more, like when you're on the moon, and then like the next one I had a little more loft.
Those are the best.
And right when I hit the end of the beach, I like, as I'm coming down, I start flying, and I can fly like a glider, and like getting more and more around and flying around and shit. And I recognized it like on my second like that I was choosing to do it. Like I was like, oh, I can go here, and it was like super specific. Like, and then I knew I was dreaming, but I stayed right in it. And I remember waking up as a kid and being like, wow, that's fucking cool. And then going right back to sleep and right back into I was just flying. Like I blinked out of that existence for a minute, and wherever I was at, like by that time I was across the river and on the hill and shit, but I was like there, like right back in it and right getting to pretend that I could fly and shit. That was cool. And then I've gotten in like fights in dreams, and I think my brain just doesn't, it would never allow my brain to just be in a fight without being involved. So I immediately was like, oh, this is what I'll do. And then I realized I'm like doing it. And then I woke up a few minutes later or whatever it was later.
Those fight dreams, those are the best ones I've experienced.
Everything feels like you feel it when you get hit. You feel it in your knuckles. Like I woke up like so sore from fighting dreams where I'm like, did I get this shit kicked out of me? Like, but
I used to have dreams about beating the shit out of my stepdad.
I think we all did.
And I mean, and it would be those type where you're like on top of him and you're just like
blast in their face,
hitting until like you feel your like arms getting tired, like you can't move anymore.
Right.
And then you're just watching the like. Mine were pretty vivid. I don't know if that's a bad
or like
thing,
where when you're smashing them, they smash more. Yeah, like almost like a pimple.
There's nothing there
like
anymore.
A pimple face.
Like you just punch their face into the concrete or something.
That's called looking for the back of the front of the skull.
Yeah.
Front of the back of the skull.
The front of the back of the skull. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
don't know. That's kind of disturbing a little bit, but I have those dreams about him, though.
I don't know. When I was doing cage fighting and shit, that was always the goal. Like, I wanted to put my hand through their head, not just knock them out. Like, and then the knocking out part was, like, would just happen. I always liked that.
Yeah.
Like, I think I had 6 fights where I won by just one of those take their lights out knockouts, and it's such a cool feeling to walk off. I walked off on one. Like, I already knew he was out. Like, he was doing the, like, I'm not going to catch myself. You know, like, head bounce off the thing, and I just fucking turned and walked and was already raising my hand.
Are any of your fights on YouTube? Can you find them?
Yeah. Yeah, if you just type my name in YouTube, there'll be, like, a pretty handsome pro baseball player with the same exact name, and then a just regular dude that's a pro golfer, and then me skateboarding, and then a bunch of cage fights all mixed in.
Because Haley she was on YouTube, and for some reason, I was watching like best UFC knockouts or something like that, and it was on there, and she was like, "Oh, people punching each other," and she clicked on it one morning. She was watching it, so now she's really into it.
Oh, really?
And I was like, "Oh, that's cool," you know. So I was like, "Hey, you know, Bryce used to do that," and she was like, "Oh, Bryce." Fancy Tickles, Bryce? I was like, yeah. And so I was like, shit, I gotta see if any of his are on YouTube. So yeah, I'll have to look them up and be like,
4 or 5 on there.
Yeah.
Shit,
One's
kids.
like a 2-parter. What about you?
Right.
What's going on this week? I just went to Jabberjawn.
Oh no, you're good, man. Dream-wise, I haven't had a whole ton of like the vivid fight ones. I'm not a big fighter, whether it's in real life or not.
Do you dream a lot as an adult?
I haven't dreamed it. Like, if I do, it's something that I don't really remember.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't, like, if there's a dream, like, the last big one I think I had was the super sick dream that I can recall.
Yeah. Oh, really?
That I can recall, yeah.
Holy shit.
That was years ago.
I used to, and I had, like, a book, and using my phone, like I've talked about before, like, as soon as I'd wake up from a dream, I'd grab my phone, open the notes, and start writing everything that I could remember. And I turned my old phone back on and went to the notes to check some of it. There's some fucking goofy shit in there where I'm like, there was one whole dream where I was like, did I just make this up? Because this is right out of, like, Bryce's favorite porn type fucking shit. And I was like, nah, no way. The setup was, like, me and a girl we went to school with in a tent that was in a living room.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like your living room kiddie camping?
Sort of. But it was, like, the living... Like, this is what scares me. Hopefully it's not, like, a future dream or something. Because, like, it was real drug housey. And I know that I like trailer ladies or whatever, but like it was real that like there was so the
like,
mattress was half in the tent, half out of the tent.
So that was like your bedroom. Your tent was like your bedroom in the
house. Yeah, no couches, boxes, that kind of thing. It wasn't here, so at least there's that.
Yeah.
So it's not soonish. But yeah, it was just the weirdest like, and like what the person was doing. Like, they were, like, on all fours, you know, like, pointing their butt at me. But they were, like, had their head all turned all the way around, like, staring at me with the... Oh, it must have been a fucking drug dream or something. Because she had, like, the big, wide, crazy eyes. But not in, like a...
like a Bratz
fuck
doll?
me way. More like, I'm going to cut your head off. Yeah, kind of like...
like
no, more like a
crazy.
dead eye thing. Like a... Like, just staring at you like a zombie. But I remember going for it still. But, I mean, that's...
You gotta take what you can get, right?
Apparently... dreams are weird.
But I think the craziest one other than that, like, super sick dream I had, when I was little, I fell asleep at, like, the breakfast table, like the little tiny kiddie breakfast table. I think I've told this, and my mom was cooking pancakes at the stove, and when I fell asleep, I think my aunt it was, like, the first time I'd been scared of a scary movie, and it was, like, a Nightmare on Elm Street, so, like, I'm sitting there watching on the floor, and, you know, you get the little... teaser in the sides of the ribs.
Oh, yeah.
She did that to me when I was sitting on the floor, and that startled me in, like, the scary spot. So, like, that was when, like, the little bit of fear kicked in a little bit of, like, the scary movies as a kid. And then I fell asleep at the breakfast table, and when in the dream, I woke up, and it was Freddy cooking breakfast instead.
That's awesome.
But instead of coming at me with the glove hand, he was going to kill me with the spatula. Like the old school metal spatulas.
Well, if you know the background of Freddy, that might not have been what he was going to do to you.
Probably not.
Yeah. It'd have been involved with the spoon, but...
Oh, you know. There was that, and then there was another one where it was like a whole bunch of horror movies mixed together.
Oh, weird.
Like,
it would be cool.
Like, vampires were chasing me down the dock of this pier or whatever.
Oh,
and
cliche.
then like a Jaws-sized shark comes up and like bites the end of the deck
all
off.
the ridiculous
Yeah, like
shit.
all the stupid stuff you wouldn't picture
You took
together.
the movies that aren't actually scary, unless you live within like a mile of the ocean.
Of what's
like,
going on.
you think of that, you know, like why would anybody have any business being scared of Jaws around here?
Yeah.
Like I've had people be like, I'm scared of like sharks. I hate the river, and I'm like, first of all, you're my kind of dumb. I'm sure we're gonna have sex later, but like, also, there's no sharks at all out there.
Yeah.
They'll be like, well, there's little ones. I'm like, no, there ain't, because they'd have to be so small. I've never seen them. But yeah, just afraid of sharks, or like afraid of something getting them. I'm like, what's gonna get you in that river?
Right.
Besides like chlamydia.
E. coli.
E. coli. That's the shit to be scared of, and those little kids are over there fucking elbow deep in duck shit most of the time. So fucking crazy. You ever seen that, like the beach and shit? Those fucking kids will just have that goose shit just everywhere, and you're like, why aren't you dying?
Well, it's because they're just pulling the sand up that's already been goose shitted in underneath the water.
Or they're scraping the goose shit out of the way to get to the good sand. It's like, go over there, you fucking heathen. It's sand.
How about this? Down at Beachview, you know, when the water first comes out, like that first
icky
nice
pool
sunny day,
thing?
there's that warm pool
That's
that
so
all
gross.
the little kids, like all the crackhead parents are like, yeah, go play in your
It's
diapers.
a hot tub.
Yeah, they're out there in their
It just-
diapers.
You can just smell it as you're going by. Like, that has a very septic smell to it.
There's like
Septic
skeeters
tank.
and stuff all around them. That's
It's
all
good.
right.
It's good for the immune system. In fact, if we'd have not done the improvements to the beach, we'd probably have already kicked COVID by now.
Probably.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
What the fuck else in the world? Luckiest fucking Irish guy ever, Connor McGregor. When he loses, he wins. He always wins. He fucking bought himself a nice little Rolex I saw on Instagram. It's a little $680,000 watch. Just, pat himself on the back for getting the shit knocked out of him.
That would be the only reason I would sign up to fight. Like, I know I'm not a fighter,
Right.
so if I could make a big, giant, fucking just chunk of
Paycheck,
change,
yeah.
I would just sign up to get
There's a
knocked
lot
out.
of fighters that's like their credo. They're like, I'm not here because I like fighting. I'm good at fighting. I like money. Like, that would be sort
Well,
of...
not even
I mean,
that.
I
Like,
like fighting,
I could, I love watching it.
Yeah.
Like, MMA, boxing, that sort of stuff is entertaining, but I'm not a fighter. So if I was going to do that at all, I know I'm going to get my ass kicked. So I would just put myself in, like, try to get
When's
myself...
the last time you swung on a dude, man?
Probably high school.
Who'd you swing at in high school?
Jared Ellis.
Oh,
That was the only time I've
You
ever
never
been in
know,
a fight.
Jim.
We should
You
hit some
might-
fucking pads, see if you got the old butterbean power.
I guarantee the's nothing there.
Fucking king of three power. Guarantee. Jesus
Something might
Christ.
happen, dude. The
It
pupils
ain't a
will
fucking
dilate.
car. You're allowed to try. No, this...
No, but I knew if I knew I was going to get knocked out, I would just sign up for the big chunk of change.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think everybody would.
Yeah.
Well, like, that's why I would say I'd fight Connor McGregor. First of all, there's a little piece of me that's like, I might clip him up. Who knows? Like I just did,
Yeah.
Nah, probably not. But still, like, if I could get some money on that, fuck yeah. Sue him for hurting me. No, and the fucker, what are those Wagyu steaks?
Oh, yeah.
So he went to fucking Dubai or whatever there, and there's the Salt Bay. That dude that when he's cooking, he does the fucking and drops the salt on or whatever. Personally cooks Conor McGregor this steak wrapped in edible 24 karat gold.
Shit.
It's $1,000 steak, and he like was hand feeding him. He was like doing all the crazy like cutting and shit, and he'd like take a piece and like put it in Conor McGregor's mouth. And you could tell he was like, I don't eat steak that big. Like, or whatever his fucking stupid voice sounds like. But he's like, okay, I'm famous, so I'll just do whatever you're doing. And he put like a piece of steak like this big in his mouth. And he's just like, just down. Yeah.
Probably just melts, though.
That's
That kind
probably
of
true.
steak,
Yeah, fuck
it
him.
probably just
God
fucking
damn it, it probably
crawls.
does.
Now, that Wagyu steak is
Self-chewing.
just so fucking buttery smooth. Like, I watched Bert and those guys cook a bunch of them up on their like their Instagram and shit. And it just, like, you just see the slice in it. It's like just running your, like a
Butter
super
knife
sharp
through it.
knife through, like, a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It just cuts so smooth. There's, like, one cut through and it's out. You don't gotta saw that shit to get a cut. It's just...
It makes you wonder what would even motivate a guy like that anymore. Like, why he even came back to get knocked out in the first goddamn place. He's like, his money just keeps making money at this point. He's like 10% invested in the UFC or whatever. Like, it was the same amount Dana White had before the buyout. So it's like, that's an ungodly amount of money in and of itself. And then he's got his whiskey, he's got like clothing lines, he's got endorsements through the fucking roof that...
Well, and that's where a lot of the
doesn't matter
people...
what he does either. He's the only athlete. Ooh, I almost said it the wrong way. So, like, all the athletes that, like, say are NFL football players that get fucking booted and they lose all their sponsors and shit for like one little infraction. He's done 30 of those fucking things.
Oh, yeah.
Like 10 times. Like every time some chick's like, he molested me. They're like, no, I didn't. It's like, yeah, that's a big enough check. No, he didn't.
Right.
You know, like, and then that's the fucking
That's enough
the end of
gross.
it, you know.
Well,
But
it's like the guy that streaked at the Super Bowl.
smart motherfucker.
That's the only part of the Super Bowl I saw.
That'll never happen again. So every bookie in America was just like, "Yep, we realize that that's the only loophole left." Like that's
Did you see
it.
he made all that chunk of change off of it?
Yeah, I heard about that.
300.
How much? Yeah.
It was like $375,000, but it was $1,000 to get him out of jail that his friend put up. So he still walked away with $374.
Well, yeah, it was a
grand.
prop bet
Damn.
at 450 to 1 or plus 450, whatever they want to call that
And he
in
put
betting.
like $5,000 down on it. Or
I think
something.
it was 50, but he
it
still
50? Oh, that's
he
right.
guaranteed the prop bet, like that somebody streaks at the Super Bowl. You can bet on anything. Like you can bet if a missed field goal is going to hit both posts. So like the ball comes up and hits the post and flies over and hits the other post. You can bet on shit like that. You can bet on if a mascot falls down. I mean, a prop bet is anything.
Yeah.
Literally anything. So I don't know. I think it's just fucking funny that they didn't see that
for
coming.
sure.
Like, wait a minute, he's gonna make $500,000 off a $50,000 investment, and the very most trouble you can get in, $1,000. I wish I'd have known that existed,
Right.
guys. I'd be in New York right now, just fucking. And if you think they caught him like late, they wouldn't touch me out there. All them security guards flying at me.
You'd be
shit.
Well,
all
sent
the
a-
way naked.
They sent a decoy out first. They sent a different guy out
to
first
get him to
to run off the
I
field, and then he come out with his like
I like
fucking
that though. That
Borat
shit's
style
so small.
G-string
Well, and I think
on.
that's what probably got him not in trouble because I think he just disrupted a sporting event. Not that that's a crime in of itself, but whatever it is when you fuck with media
Yeah.
and cost people money through advertising or times like the space that you'd have to pay. Like that's what he's lucky for because imagine it's $1 million a minute when you have a Super Bowl ad. Well, he just
Yeah.
wasted a minute and a fucking half of a halftime or a between quarters or whenever it happened. They could have hit him with that. Like FCC could have hit him with a fine and been like, no, you just fucking stole their advertising, their show essentially. Because how much more are they talking about that than Tom Brady? Seems like a lot more to me.
Well, the big thing, yeah, that's been all over. Recently, the Tom Brady thing was they did their Super Bowl parade through Tampa, and they did on the water, so you could have anybody that wanted to line up along the shore or whatever, along the canal or whatever, look in and watch, and they can still keep distance with whatever. So he's on his own boat with the Super Bowl trophy, drunk as shit, with his daughter, who his daughter now has held. I think there was a meme that I saw. It was Tom Brady's daughter has now held the Super Bowl trophy more times than the Dallas Cowboys have in the last 20 years. And it's like 8, because he's been to 8 different Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I guess now he does have 8 rings. Maybe it is 8 rings. I thought it was only 7. He's got a fuck ton of Super Bowl rings. Anyway, he takes the trophy and throws it to the boat behind him.
It's not like 5 feet either. It's like 20 feet.
I
Like,
haven't heard about this yet.
He's a
It's
drunk-
like
I mean, he is
door
like the best
to the
quarterback
door
ever,
in there.
so there is that.
and he just like he's like this, and everybody on the boat's like
no,
they're just, it's like the scenes where like there's like 8 different people in the end zone and they just throw up a Hail Mary. It's like that. Everybody's like scrambling to get a hand on it.
Somebody get a
And like
fucking
the
hand on
receiver in
that.
the middle is just like
Yeah, right.
just sucks it in. And you can hear his daughter like, "Dad, no!" And he just hurls it, and then as he throws it, then he like ducks and covers like, "Oh my god."
What'd I do?
Okay, we're good. It made it. Okay, we're good. But yeah, for him to be... Nobody likes Tom Brady at this point, for how many Super Bowls he's been to.
Nobody likes the best of anything.
Well, and the biggest thing I think people had an issue with was he went with Belichick, and every time that there was a Super Bowl win, there was some sort of controversy behind it. There was that Deflategate, there was, like...
I guess what I would say is people that, like, I don't, but, like, you really like football. Know the rules of football, know a little bit of history of football or whatever. I'm not sure what you know about football, but it's there.
Yeah.
So, like, what am I trying to say with it? Like, if he's still playing the game, he hasn't been booted, right?
Yeah.
For anything that he's done, then obviously the people that review the rules and review whether he had committed a crime or done anything wrong have either punished him or he's been exonerated. So, like, for everybody to be like, oh, I don't like him for this reason, it's like, well, he never got in trouble for it. He's still playing football.
Well, there's that, and I think the other big thing is everybody was just tired of seeing the Patriots go to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Like, when you see the same team go, it's like when you watch baseball and you're tired of seeing the Yankees make it.
Right. Well,
I get
what
that
I
they're
would
the
say to
best
everybody
team.
else is pick up your game.
Well, and that was the thing that, I mean, what was nice to see, and I don't want to say it this way, but it was nice to see Tampa go again for the simple fact that they haven't been in years, whether it was with Tom Brady or not. Like, there's a handful of quarterbacks that I still say to this day, you can put in the game, and anybody on that team, any receiver, any tight end, they can make him a superstar.
Shit, yeah.
You're
good. You're good, Doug.
That was my dad.
There's
He does that a lot.
always Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
Hey, Manning
Brett
was
Favre.
a fucking workhorse. So
Brett
is Brett
Favre.
Favre.
Yep.
You can put almost any one of those guys
Is
in the
Brett
game.
Favre still on a practice team anywhere?
Mm-mm.
No.
I think he finally retired. He's just doing
So the old joke isn't going around anymore?
yeah,
Like,
no.
where they're like, why would a 40-something-year-old be a second-string quarterback? It's
Right.
like, hey, you be our second-string quarterback for $4 million a year? Oh, yeah, I'll fucking do that. You know?
Right.
And then, like, you keep dragging it down. It's like, so, hey, would you be like our fourth-string backup quarterback for like $1 million a year? Yep, I'll fucking still do that.
You got it.
You want to kick field goals, like, on the practice squad for $500,000 a year? Yeah, absolutely. I still will.
Be the worst person in the world at doing it, but sure, why not?
Right, who cares? That's what I'm saying. Like, whatever they would offer you, the money is what it's about, that you're playing a fucking game.
Right.
Like, it's a game. Like, that's what blows my mind about it. Like, I get maybe making people comfortable. Like, a little more comfortable than common man so they can afford the, ooh, Jimmy got hot.
Did a little roasty there.
Sorry, bro.
You're
good. Ooh, that is warmish.
Toasting that marshmallow.
So, getting it heated up for me. I like to put my buns in the oven before I eat them, you know what I mean?
Put that tub of cracker in there.
But, yeah, so, make them comfortable.
Butter the buns up, look it out there.
Too much. Just enough.
Just enough.
Perfect. No, I started to get hard. I had to think of something else for a minute.
Baseball, soccer.
But if it's like, where did $500 million come from, or 528 that they gave A-Rod to play baseball? Where does that fucking kid in I want to say he's the Padres or something like that, the one with the long hair that got a deal like 5 years ago, he's a pitcher. He got a fucking like 200 million or something over 11 years or whatever.
A lot of it is they see the
but that much,
right? So that much, and it stretches out over like the year's deal. So it's not
right.
like
It's not that much a year. I understand that. It's just,
and then half the time is even if you get traded to a team for a set amount. There was a guy that played in that was on the Super Bowl on the Bucs. Didn't take a snap once all season. Still gets the check for winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Still gets a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. With the guys that are getting these deals, even if they don't meet performance standards, they get a guaranteed set amount of money.
Right.
So even if they like don't meet that like 5-year deal or whatever, like say they're 2.5 years in, and they've went from like the winningest pitcher in baseball to like the next year they get traded to the team, and they have an injury like the third game of the season that they pitch or whatever, or they're playing.
Right.
Then it's like a potential career-ending injury.
Yeah.
So then they've got to go through physical therapy, they go through the surgeries, everything like that, to see if they can still play. Once they come back, that's when the teams be like, okay, so we can't really renege on the bet,
right,
or on the deal until we find out for sure what's going on.
Right.
And then they're still guaranteed that chunk of change.
Right. I guess, I mean, if it's a longevity thing, I get that. It's just with like pitchers or anything like that, like they can be so hot and then so not quick.
Well, and that's, I mean, again, that's, and that's what I love about baseball for the most part is, and the same thing with any sport really, you can find somebody that is super phenomenal at a sport, to one year, and the next year there's a whole new squad of players that come up
or like
that can just shut them
the
down.
rhythm of play changes.
Well, like Steph Curry, for example, his 3-pointers like 3 years ago were right at the 3-point line. Now he's shooting 6 and 7 and 8 feet behind the 3-point line and still draining them. So he's just scooting that line back. Like he can literally come just right across the half court line, put up a ball and drain a 3, and just be like, okay, there's nobody that can defend him. And if you get 2 or 3 people on that,
defend him, especially in zone or coverage, because as soon as they come outside of the 3 people, I mean, 8 feet out, that's a fucking long ball.
Yeah,
dude. That's so much fucking basketball.
And he's just, there's like no effort to it. Like he leans into it a little bit,
right?
But then it's like
there's just imagine these fuckers got arms that are like 8 feet long.
He's
as it is,
not
they're just
super
like,
tall.
Flick. By what standard? He's 6'4", ain't he?
No, I don't think Steph Curry's 6'4".
Really?
Steph Curry's like one of the short, quick dribbler guys.
Oh,
he's
really?
not like the long ball, like
I don't know
the
why
inside
I thought he was
check.
tall.
No, Steph Curry's
he's like the
little
really light skinned black guy, right? Yeah.
He's like the Logic of basketball.
Yeah. I thought he was tall.
No.
Oh, well, some Logic. I like that. That's a good reference. That's a really good reference. When am I getting paid, y'all? Well, fucking, yeah, Super Bowl sucks. How about wrestling, though? There's a fake real sport where you should give people way more money.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think we were just talking, so, like, the whole comeback story has been big this year with Edge coming back.
Oh.
And his promos have been far above and beyond. Like, the one that he had on SmackDown, we'll get to the Raw one in a minute, but the one he had on SmackDown with Roman Reigns, he walks out and he literally just stands in the ring, and Reigns is like, I can't believe you're coming here last to see me. Like, you make me wait to see me.
Right.
And he's like, says something, and Paul starts to kind of like get up, and he's like, I got this. And he's like, you know I'm renting space in your head right now. Like, I'm just eating at your brain. Like, I'm in there whether you want me there or not. And he's like, but I know Paul's not going to do a damn thing. But you couldn't come out here alone? You had to bring your stooge with you? And he's got one of the Usos out there with him, and he's like, sends him off in the back, and he's like, I got this. And he just walks up and gets in his face, and he goes, acknowledge me. Say my name. I'm going to be the one you fight at WrestleMania. Say my name. And he just kind of stands there and looks at him. He kind of just looks over his shoulder and takes a step back. Kevin Owens comes up behind him and stuns him. Edge just kind of drops the mic and walks out of the ring. Calls it a day.
Perfect.
Yeah, like just
That's
he's like,
so
I didn't have to
perfect.
do a thing. Didn't say a word.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I'm in your head now.
Well, and the Kevin Owens and Roman match was fucking radical.
Yeah. And then you've got where he pops up on Monday with The Miz.
This is the one that made my skin vibrate a little bit.
Well, so he comes out and he's still like, he's like, okay, so all last week was busy. You know, starts off with winning the Rumble on Sunday, going to Raw, face off with, you know, Drew. Sheamus gets involved, face off with Finn. Pete Dunne gets involved. Both of those guys have matches coming up at Elimination Chamber. Roman's the only one that doesn't have anything set, and now Drew is now set to defend the WWE Championship in an Elimination Chamber match.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the 21st, birthday Sunday.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yes, we'll have to figure something out to watch that. Next week is when they do the Finn-Pete Dunne match.
So they're still going with that. So then it's pretty obvious he's going to... him and Reigns then.
Well, no, it's not set in stone. Like, he's kind of just... He said after... He doesn't know who he's going to face because he thinks he can take anybody in the Elimination Chamber match. And he's like, just... We'll see what comes out of that before I make my decision.
So waiting for Elimination Chamber to pop off, and then
he might give him
whoever the new champion is. You know what that makes me think is that they're going to job it out or whatever you want to call it. They're going to hand the title to somebody that isn't the champ at Elimination Chamber, and then cause Edge to come back and wrestle Drew in a singles after Edge picks up the title. Like the fight back.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. To let Drew overcome.
Yeah, so Drew, he'll drop. Edge will have it for just a little while. Like, he'll take it from whoever actually wins Elimination Chamber, and then it'll set up some new angle of rivalry between... I bet, this is just me looking into the future, we're going to see the Edge turn. Like, he will have been here just long enough, and then he's going to go right into fucking cocksucker Edge mode.
Bad guy Edge.
Bad guy Edge.
Which I always thought he did better than.
Oh, he does really good. Yeah, and he's all like, fucking, he's just gonna, maybe, I think he's going to do like a hate on young talent thing. Not necessarily real pointed at it, obviously, because, Vince doesn't want him to fucking wear out his new guys or whatever, but...
Well, no, that's one thing.
You get what I'm getting at? Like, this is an old dog's fight, and you're a bunch of young puppies or whatever type of thing. And he's going to force them to bring it to him, and then him and Drew are probably going to have, like, a crazy fucking match. And then Drew will, that's when he'll drop the title.
I could see that.
And then Drew will get kind of... Because he's good. He makes sense, but to me, in my mind right now, he's kind of like that dude that held the NWA title, or still does, now. He's that big English dude that dresses all super nice.
Nick Aldis.
That's it. Like where he looks the part, but he just isn't popped over. Like, the crowd is not hitting like they should for a big, giant, hairy, Viking-looking fucking dude yet. And he's got to have that overcome with Edge and maybe get some really good fucking mic time on there, and then...
Well, he's pretty good on the mic. I'll give him that. Like, he's grown substantially from his... rookie
for sure.
years
Well,
and,
like
MB
when he had
that.
smooth face and he looked all dumb. But yeah, no, I just think there's something is a put over for somebody. Edge he's not coming back to fucking be permanent, that's for sure. But he probably does want to hold a new title one time or something.
Well, I think he wants to go as long as he can, and he's kind of said that. Like, if I can keep going, I'm going to go. Like, there's so much new talent here to play with that.
I just didn't know how long he'd last, especially if he was doing anything other than wrestling maybe once a month. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
well, he had the match right after Raw.
Right.
Right after Rumble. He had a match against Orton. That on Monday.
Was that for a title?
No.
I didn't think so.
So
obviously, duh.
So you've got...
He won the Rumble, not
a
title.
In the Elimination Chamber match, you've got McIntyre, Orton, The Miz, Jeff Hardy.
Rob Van Dam?
Nope.
Dang it. He's always so good in those, dude.
Who else is there? There's two other people in there, I think.
Is The Miz in there? Or has he got
The Miz is in there.
Money in the Bank, too, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, and see, that's why,
what's going to happen.
That's why he came out, and Miz was like, you realize that even if you win, I can strike right after that.
I have a feeling that'll be it.
Or I could see happening where if whoever's in the Elimination Chamber beats him, that's when Miz could try to cash in. Because they've already had like a faulty cash in with the Money in the Bank anyway.
A faulty?
So it was one of the pay-per-views before Rumble. Miz and Morrison come out, and Miz gets in the ring with the guy, and he like has a tussle. And it was McIntyre, because McIntyre still had the belt. So he gets in the ring, has a tussle with him, and Morrison's like, he wants to cash it in. He's cashing it in now. And so like they make it into a triple threat, whatever the match who it was supposed to be. It was like a one-on-one, and then they make it a triple threat. And McIntyre still beats both of them to keep his belt. So they're like, Miz is like, I never cashed it in. He did. Why are you taking my thing away from me?
Gotcha.
So he was gone without it for like 2 or 3 weeks, and they finally like gave it back to him as like...
That's fucking bananas.
Yeah.
Fucking wrestling.
And then you've got the New Japan AEW crossover that they did on Wednesday as well.
I like that.
It's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Because now they've also got Leo Rush, who's part of New Japan, is now the AAA Cruiserweight and the MLW Middleweight Champion. So that's another cross-promotion that they've done there.
Hell yeah.
With a 2 title holder. And then he also called out Darby. He's called out a few other people that are belt holders in other companies.
Shit, yeah. Well, fucking, what else? Is COVID still a thing?
Somewhere out there.
Nice.
Well, there's a worse one now.
A worse one?
Yeah, there's a worse COVID now.
You mean it's like as bad as the
UK,
flu?
right?
I think I saw that on the news. Now I know.
Brevant?
Bravant?
Bravant?
Is this a place or the name of the disease?
That's the name of the disease.
They got weird fucking names over there.
Brevant 19? I don't know. I might be saying that wrong.
It's Brexit 2020. You're Brexit just confusing when they got out of the European Union and when COVID hit. So now it's COVID 2020 Brexit 19. No, so you got a little story about this, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of strange. So my wife got her... She got the COVID shot because she was considered essential healthcare. So I was a little leery about it. I was like, just wait and see if people start turning into zombies.
Right.
Or, whatever.
Because that'd be fairly inconvenient for you. Just
it
saying.
It really would.
You know what I mean? Like, really? Brains,
Damn
I get it. Brains, I get it.
Yeah, go back to the basement.
Just go back.
Jesus. Haley, your mom can't come out.
You'd still have to put, like, Dr. Phil and shit on for him. So it'd be like a zombie wife with, like, a chain on her neck, to keep it from eating everybody. But it would be, like, Ben and Jerry's and, like, The Notebook and, like, Dr. Phil all the time.
Yeah.
But you just use dog bowls for
got
food
a zombie
instead of...
shit.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
Just, dude, exactly. What fucking movie was that? Was that in it?
Was that Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah.
Where they got the lady.
He's got his buddy in his shed or whatever. So she gets the first shot.
She got the first shot. It's been 20 some days ago, and they were like, "Hey, here's your date where you need to go in and get your second booster, so it actually works, because you got to have 2 for this first one." And she goes to this undisclosed location because they don't want people to know where it's happening, because they're worried people are gonna like storm in and try to get these shots.
So
Really? Yeah.
Don't you realize the people that would storm in Idaho are not the people that want the shot?
Exactly.
Those are
They're the ones that are like,
you'll have to hold me down and give me the shot in my ass dead, before I give up my guns. Is this an argument about guns? Like, Jesus.
Guns, where's my bullets? There ain't no ammo at North Party. Anyway. Yeah, so she went to the undisclosed location, and there were about 4 or 5 other people out there as well. And, they're kind of looking into the windows and stuff. There's nothing in there. Nothing in there. All the chairs from the last time are still there and everything, but there's nobody in there. Lights are off. It's like, what the hell? So she came home, and this is a scheduled appointment.
Yeah.
So she comes home, she's like, what the hell's going on? So she calls the pharmacy that this is scheduled through, and they're like, we don't know. We have no answers for you. She's like, well, this is kind of a big deal. Like, she was pretty pissed. Like,
well, yeah, especially if you get part of it.
Yeah.
So now you run the risk of now you've come in contact with it. Maybe your body ain't dealing with the antibodies the way it's supposed to. And for that booster to come through is what's going to make it work, as opposed to now I just have I have whatever else is in the shot too.
Yeah. So she was like, she asked the question, well, so if I can't get this one, can I go to, Schweitzer is doing theirs too. Can I go to Schweitzer and get that? No, you can't mix them. Because there's different ingredients in these shots, which seems odd to me too. Or
that they're all combating the same disease or the same virus, but that's it by mixing the two. Some horrible fucking thing is going to happen.
Yeah, so she learned that.
What if that's the only thing that is keeping people from turning to zombies? When they tell them, they're like, "Don't mix them," and some fucking dude from Idaho. Or this part of Washington, I'm not picking on anybody.
Stumbles into the fucking
well, he's just like, clinic. I want my second one. Put it in me.
Yeah.
I need it. I'm American. And then he gets the second one, and then immediate zombie shit.
Exactly. So
what if it starts here? Like, what if the zombie thing that's
it's
for
always
sure
gonna be
gonna
a small
happen?
town America. It always is.
Well, it's like Red Dawn, the second one or remake, Spokane.
Yep.
I lived like right on one of the streets during filming. Not
really?
During filming. I lived on the street and then saw later on, like, that's Broadway Foods. Or, I lived right there.
That's where that jet crashed right into that house.
Right there.
That's a cool fucking scene.
It is.
Anyway, way off subject. So she ends up calling
hopefully off subject.
Yeah, hopefully. She calls the pharmacy, and then they have no answers for her. So she's like, hey, I'm going to call the health department. And they're like, no, don't call the health department. She's like, well, why? We'll get it handled. Don't worry, we'll call you back. So she doesn't hear anything for like 4 hours. So she's like, fuck that. I'm calling the health department. So she calls the health department. They know nothing about this.
What?
Yeah. So she was part of this first. I can't remember the name of the medication.
Monera. Yeah.
Yeah, she was part of that first for the Monera vaccinations, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't have them right now." And she's like, "Well, then why did you schedule all these people?"
Right.
And
did any of them get it?
Not
the
that
second
day.
round.
Not that day that they were supposed to. So anyway, I guess now they're awaiting when they can go get it. But some of these people are already past the date to where you're supposed to get your second booster. So it's like...
It is so crazy how disorganized... And yes,
Yeah.
I understand that we're dealing with big numbers, but let's just reference this to, like, say, your work. How many items do you have in your store, do you think, Jim? Just... Is there 100,000 different items in the store? No, probably not.
More than that.
More?
If you count, like, every individual fruit and stuff like that, vegetable, cut of meat, probably, yeah.
So with that being said, and then there's multiple cuts. You have inventory showing by weight, by pound, by piece, by whatever, right? And your boss would be mad if it was off by a half a pallet, right? My boss, I deal with millions and millions of washers and bolts and nuts and screws. My boss is 80 years old. He's got one good eye. He's had 3 heart attacks, 2 bypasses, drinks whiskey and smokes cigars. He can make sure we get paid, that product is ordered ahead of time so our customers have it, right? All the other things that we deal with in the workplace setting, he can manage that. But tens of thousands of government employees, especially who's supposed to be the smartest people developing these things, aren't getting things out when they need to be getting out. You know what I mean? Like, how weird is that? Like, especially a 2-part thing. Like, unless you have the whole thing secure, you're going to fuck with, like, a vaccine that just came out.
Yeah.
That's bananas, dude.
It absolutely, like, I was on lunch when she was telling me about all this, and I went back to work, and I was just pissed off. I was like, really? Like, how... And even in I don't know, I still consider us kind of a smaller community. And there's not that many fucking people here. And I guarantee you there's not that many fucking people getting that shot. It's right now because they're doing it by the essential, you know. If you're this age and older, if you're in this health group, if you're, you know. So it's like, how did you not keep track of that?
Right.
And I thought
for them to have no answers.
Right, or to, like, almost
like,
as if they're playing it off. Like,
I put this shit in my body.
We don't know what you're talking about even.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I put this shit in my body that I don't even know what it is, but it's going to help me fight off this.
It would be like if you're driving down the road and you got pulled over by a police officer and he came up to the window and he had his dick hanging out of his zipper, right? And he's like, license and registration. And you're like, okay. You know, and you give it to him and they go back and they come back and now their pants are around their ankles.
Yeah.
Everything's out. He drops your license, turns all the way around on purpose. You have to look him right in the asshole. Right? And he picks up your ID, and he fucking turns around, and he hands you your license, but he doesn't hand you your registration. Right? You're like, can I have my registration? And he just, like, pees on the side of your car, goes in his cop car, and just drives off. And you're like, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
And,
exactly.
And you notice that it's, say, Officer Donaldson. Let's say that's the dude's name, right? And you're like, it says Donaldson on the tag. And you call CPD, and you're like, hey, I just had a really fucking weird experience with one of your officers. Came up to the window, you know, explained the penis out, the butthole, the peeing on your car, and not giving me your registration back, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, and they're like, what was the officer's name? And you're like, Officer Donaldson. And they're like, we don't have an Officer Donaldson. We don't know what you're talking about. One of 2 things is going on. Either they know what Donaldson does at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays or whatever, then they have to cover it up because a mistake has been made in his employment, or he really doesn't fucking exist. Who just gave me this thing? That is exactly how my brain would be working if I had got that shot. Because I'd be like, either you call the health department, they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. So I either got some shot from a hobo in an alley that's probably heroin or something else, you know.
Yeah. Or
they're trying to cover up the fact that they gave the first rounders out, both which are not great scenarios.
Yeah.
So that, you know, maybe just watch if she gets a little pointy teethy, gets a little brainsy.
She really doesn't like it when I joke around about it, though.
Oh, probably not. Well, because it's her, dude.
I know. Yeah, she's like, I was like, if I wake up and you're fucking drooling on me or something, or if you're gnawing on my ear and not in a good way,
gotta take you out,
I'm
mama.
gonna have to take you out. And she was like, shut up. You know,
Yeah,
like,
oh.
don't.
Well,
I was
and
like,
that's
no.
part of the media thing, you know.
But I, at the same time, I still, you know, I gotta make fun of it a little bit.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like,
well, because if you don't, like, because what if you don't get those jokes in while she still has a brain and she's not a zombie?
Exactly.
Know what I mean?
She's not gonna
I would've
understand
missed
it
out.
at that point.
Yeah, be like,
Yeah.
no, honey, see, this is what, it's context of a joke.
Yeah.
It's stuff. She's like, oh, she just, it's not the same anymore.
I don't know. I'm just, the whole thing is just,
Well,
I'm sick and tired of talking about COVID, but at the same time, that's like the biggest
I don't.
thing going on.
It seems like it's the only thing in the world that if you quit talking about it, doesn't go away. Like it comes back up. Like there for a minute, I was like, "Are we done?" Because like all the signs on this store in town were not on the doors anymore, saying you got to wear a mask, got to do this. I was like, "Did they get rid of it?" So I looked up on my phone, didn't say anything had changed. They were talking about how dangerous it is. I'm like, I just watched like 15 people walk out of that store with no mask. Nobody said nothing. Lady's not wearing one. I'm now not wearing one because I don't like wearing them. And it's just
until you go eat somewhere like Roosters and realize you got things called privacy bubbles. Have you seen them? It's a bubble that your table's in.
Shut up.
I'm dead serious.
Right here in town?
Mm-hmm. They were
Dude.
trying them out.
I want a bubble.
You go into your own little... Sarah was like, I swear to God, if you take me for a day at Roosters in a bubble.
Well, imagine how hot it would be inside of a plastic bubble.
Oh, like,
It'd just be all
steamy
foggy
and shit.
Well, yeah, and unless they cleaned it, it would have everybody else's food.
You're like
shit
eating
steaming
and
up.
fucking shit's dripping
yeah,
on
you
your
get
food.
Yeah, I'd be like, did that happened, man?
Ew.
I have COVID for sure.
That'd be worse than when I was over here at the Chinese food restaurant on the corner and the old lady came out and had her old wrinkly yellow thumbnail in my chow mein.
Oh, yeah. She used to always grab the top of the plates. That's the easiest way to carry them for
and
her.
I was like,
The little, the Coke nail. The Coke
yeah, and
nail.
it was like this long and it curved down.
It's
And
like,
it was just fucking
like-
in there.
not even just touching your plate.
Sarah was like, what? And I was like, enjoy. Oh, yeah, okay.
God.
Anyway.
That part
Yeah.
out.
Ew.
Ugh.
I don't eat there no more.
I haven't ate there in forever. Ever and ever.
Yeah.
Well, we promised this one last week because we got to the end of the episode and Jim always is like, hey, that's the third time you've said goodbye, folks. And I'm like, all right, but really this time I mean it. We were talking about like good and evil. And like specifically my thought was like, what if the society we live in and the world that we're living in, especially as new as what we believe in is as like people, like religion is only so old.
Yeah.
Beliefs and morals are only so old. Like that had to come with intellect for us to decide that. So what if, and this was my like wondering what's going on with the world and why everything's so confusing sometimes is what if the things that are right to us are actually the wrong things? And what if the wrong things are actually the right things? And not right and wrong might not be the best word or good and bad, but like things either have morality or really shouldn't. And like my biggest argument for it was like things like love. Like if it exists the way that they say love exists, then it should be something you want to do with everybody. I love my Jimmy. I love my Sean. I love my neighbors. I love everybody, right? And you try and love everybody individually in the way that they want to be loved. Except for if you want to love them between the legs with the thing between your legs. Now it's not that anymore because we have compartmentalized it to this, that's a bad thing. So it's very hard to get good out of bad except for if you agree to monogamy and the purpose is to not really enjoy yourself but to produce babies and have more babies or whatever. Like
that's how it's supposed to be.
That's how it's supposed to be is that way. So, but why would the thing that for whatever reason seems to make everybody feel better in the moment, except for their moral objections or like feeling bad for having done it after? And there's a lot of those things like drugs or like gambling or stealing or like whatever. Not saying that stealing is good, but like if we looked at all those things differently as a society, like if we just could wipe the plate and be like, I don't have moral stigmas based off my parents' beliefs because my parents' beliefs are based off their grandparents' beliefs. And for the same reason that we don't like the fact that there's people that are like 79 million years old in Congress because they're not with the times, I don't like that a lot of people's moral compasses are all based off of archaic, old, not self-serving type rules. And it's to each your own. I'm not like picking on people that have lived like a moral life set. And because I have morals for myself, but they are all based off like my kids or how I treat somebody. Like, to me, it seems far more morally wrong to talk a woman into sex who's like not having a good time, but you're only worried about you. But it's okay because you're in a relationship and that just happens over time. Sometimes she's not into it, but you got to get, what's yours or whatever. That seems like a way worse crime than like going out there and having fun with whoever the fuck you want. If you're an adult, nobody's getting hurt. Like, the only argument that could be said is an economical one if you're having like 50 kids and like a social responsibility thing of like paying for all said kids or like going out and like giving 100 people AIDS or whatever. You know what I mean? Like those kind of things, like that should be morally reprehensible or whatever, but that you're doing the act of shouldn't. It's weird how some people even get off on the idea that it's bad. Like the cliches, like the preacher's daughter. That's why she likes it, because she thinks it's bad and that makes it good. Well, who doesn't like that girl? You know what I mean? Only other girls that are not morally unreprehensible.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a very, like, one specific little fucking channel of that thing, but like...
Well, that's the easiest way to explain it and what we
go through on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, and like
it's hard for us to talk about it like in a crime sense. Like, I've never stole anything or anything majorly bad. I've never murdered anybody. I've never raped anyone to know that yes, those things are bad. They're morally bad. Right.
Because of how it makes somebody else feel. Obviously, like, rape is bad because it makes them feel bad. Stealing somebody's money ruins their day or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then there is an objection in there as well. So, I can't go steal for any reason. Like, say I want to go rob a liquor store for $500. Doesn't matter if I want to buy drugs or pay my power bill to make sure my kid is warm in the winter. You can't do that. Yeah. But morally, my boss can continually, and I don't mean specifically right now my boss, but a boss, anybody's boss, can tell you how, we just don't, there's the budget and all these, I know I've been promising races for like 3 years, but there's just no money in it. But you see their nice pickup and their nice house and their nice things, and you're like, that's stealing. You're stealing my livelihood from me so that your life could be better. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and then take that to like corporations that just step on people all the fucking time and run little businesses out of business. That's an okay amount of theft because we call it capitalism. Right. But if it's not capitalism and I just choose to take the middleman out, which is commerce in the market, like, I will not provide you a product, I'm just going to take revenue. Well, now we're not allowed to do that. But if you have a reason, or you can provide me, then you get to go to jail. You get to go to
prison and make other people more money while you sit in prison.
That's fucking right. Yeah. Right, in an amount that, like, if they would have just given me to begin with, like, say the whole thing starts over $500. Yep. If it costs more than $500 to put me in jail, you shouldn't be able to put me in jail. Because that doesn't make no sense. You're protecting me from society for $18,563 a year in the state of Washington on average right now in penitentiaries. For a $500 fucking bill I stole out of a cash register, that doesn't really make sense. Maybe you should fix the problem of me needing some money in my pocket to pay for food or to pay for whatever. And yes, I know I have a bunch of action figures, but this doesn't really apply to me. I pay my bills. I'm not really struggling. But, like, I could use more. I definitely know 60-year-old Bryce could use some money. Right. Like, in the form of retirement and, like, things like that.
Yeah, so that's something I'm not actually counting in my... I'm not looking at that, honestly, retirement. Mainly because, I'm 34 years old. I don't know, to me, I don't know, Sarah might not like this one, but I feel like I'm like halfway done, man.
Right. Well, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's like, shit.
60-something seems like a stretch.
I don't have nothing. I have no retirement.
Right.
I mean, I've had jobs in the past where I've built up retirement, but have I just let that sit in a bank? Who does that?
Because you're never in a situation where you can.
Yeah.
Because typically when you get to the end of a job that's good, that has those kind of benefits, you're like, fuck, I need to pull money for this little tiny fraction of time to pay for my house and my bills and my things like that so I can get to the next job.
Yeah.
Which is super, super fucking unfortunate because the big players in the game, like these giant corporations that step on people or like housing lender loan companies, like I don't know if everybody remembers, but in like 2008 or 9, we gave them like $15 billion fucking dollars to bail the banks out or whatever. Mm-hmm. And what happened? It got harder than it had ever been to buy a home, and the cost of a home like tripled. Yep. Like, thanks for us bailing you out, because if you'd have just went out of business, there'd have been a bunch of really small banks with a bunch of our revenue to then have good loans. Yeah. Right? And sure. Those kind of, I mean, is there anything like that you guys think about, or am I just the only crazy person in the room? Like what's a good or bad thing that maybe you think of?
Well, like, I get the sex thing. That, I mean...
Well, because we're on the same page of the freedom part of it, where it's like, if you're an adult and I'm an adult, as long as we're trying to do, you know...
I think there's that, but then I also look at the marriage side of it, and I think that, for me... It's not so much like I said, it's, you want that connection with a person, first and above, more than anything. And once that connection is built, you don't want to share that connection you don't want that connection shared with that person to be shared with somebody else.
Right.
So I think that's where the part of the locking down part comes in, like the marriage essentially comes in. And I know you can do that without being married. Like, there just has to be that agreement between the two people.
And I think it's stronger between two people that aren't married. There isn't all this shit on the line. You're literally just choosing to continue years in and years in with this person, dealing with everything else that a married person does without it's like, I have a heart just agreement with you, not a fucking piece of paper. Because that keeps guys on, and it keeps, women on the hook. Yeah. They don't want to lose half their shit. They don't want to go through all the bullshit that's required, that's why they say, why is divorce so expensive? Because it's worth it. I've been in a lot of long-term relationships, which sounds weird because I'm not that old, but I guess what I would call a long-term relationship.
Define a long-term relationship.
Over a year, or you share a home. Like, once you started living together and shit, that's a pretty long-term thing. Yeah. Right, because even the back push off of that is them finding their own place again, and that takes time. It's more of a level of commitment more than a time period. Mm-hmm. So I've committed to a lot of people that have turned around and been like, he's fucking out of his mind. No, thank you. And I'm like, I get it. Like, peace. But like I have been more into those relationships, or when my relationships were that, than ever was when I was married. Like, the married thing just turned into this weirdly structured thing in my mind, and I couldn't get my mind around it. Yeah. Because I never wanted to tie someone down, because, like, if you want to fucking skedaddle, go. I'm the last person to stand in front of a door. You know what I mean? Like, it all comes back to maybe, like, sexuality and things like that, but, like, I want somebody to want me. Yeah. Right? And then I want you to show that you give a fuck. Like, I'm never going to talk a woman into sex. You know what I mean? That seems so pitiful, and if you're not involved, I'm definitely not going to get you involved. There's warming people up, but there's definitely not, you know what I mean? Like, if somebody's not into it, I'm like, yeah, me neither, bye. Or not bye, that's kind of fucked. Well, yeah. You know what I mean? Let's do something else then, because I don't want you to, like, be filing your nails and doing your taxes while you're fucking, when there's other people that are very into the way that I fuck. Right. If that makes sense.
Well, on the married guy side of things, I understand. I get what you guys are getting at, and I think, I don't know. I'm trying to put this without sounding like an ass, but like, there's a difference between marrying somebody. I don't even know how to say that.
No, go for it, dude. We're pretty raw on here. So
you're trying. So I've been married once before too. So I was married and divorced. Bad situation. Right. But I think that some people, when they get married, they don't look at the bad situation hard enough. Like, they don't look at it hard enough. They just continue in. And then it spirals out of fucking control. And I think that's what happens a lot of the time.
Yeah. Like, you're putting up with the thing in hopes that... Yeah. And especially when that bites you. Like, say you put up with something for years. Yeah. Like, say whatever the thing is for years. And then you finally snap and have one bad day. Mm-hmm. One bad day where you make a really bad decision. Not saying that, like, that justifies it, but think about what that means. Mm-hmm. There's another example of, like, this is a thing that I think I see women do. Maybe this is just me. You have a great relationship. Very physical, very emotional, very passionate. In what doesn't seem like too long of an amount of time, that seems to, for whatever reason, go away. Maybe that's my skill set. Maybe that's my ability to have compassion or act like an adult. Whatever that thing is. But then, once you're under a certain rule set, like say you got kids, and you're married, and the house, and the cars, and all that, and then that other person takes it away. They're like, no more physical. None at all. And you're like, oh, that's weird. I can do that for a while. Then a month goes by. Then 3 months goes by. Then 6 months goes by. Then a year goes by. Then like 2 years go by and you're like, I don't even know if this thing gets hard anymore. I mean, I do because I go and I use it every day by myself. But like, you're out, you're struggling, you're paying bills, you're doing everything that you need to do. And this person just treats you like an ATM or whatever. Yeah. You go out and cheat on them one fucking time. I triple dog dare you, dude. If that doesn't end the fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Well, now, see, I can say I've been in that situation and not been in a relationship and not cheated or gone and done something like that, and then because of my morals, I feel bad about what I did. Even though there was no relationship going on between me and the girl.
Right.
I was still doing everything I could to help her and the kiddo out.
Right.
And so on and so forth, and trying to be that person to have that connection with. And we did have a connection. It just wasn't the connection that I was looking for.
Right.
So then when I go out and do that other connection that, you know, that connects.
Right, right.
I still feel morally bad about doing it.
Right, and there in and of itself is the good versus bad thing that I'm thinking of. Is it's like you can have so much pressure applied to you, and I'm not saying this is one direction. Men do it to women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All the time. But you can't expect a good outcome from a bad environment. And you most definitely can't make it a pressure cooker where it's like, this is just getting worse in this sense, not better. Like, anyway, it's just such the moral dilemma thing is such a dilemma. So, I don't know. But it's good.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Life's interesting. Like, if you live outside of the rules, which I can say I've done my entire life.
Right.
I've always done. It's interesting. Life is different for me than it probably is for other people for the same bang of buck type of thing. I don't know. I have always wanted to reset it somehow. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's maybe the draw to the born again Christianity type thing, where it's like, you know, you're 38 years old, you've been in prison 5 times, and now you found Jesus or whatever. Yeah. That's that draw, because it's the only thing that everybody else goes, this is a morally acceptable way to forget about your past. And you're supposed to wipe the slate clean. You have been reborn. You have been baptized. You are just don't make any more mistakes. You know.
Well, and then there's that thing that even if you do, God forgives.
Yeah.
God is always going to forgive you.
Right. So it's an easy thing to latch onto. I can't do it, but
I mean, like I was Christian and I to an extent I am. I believe in a greater power. I don't necessarily believe in God and Jesus and that whole thing there. And I've said this to my family that's super religious and stuff like that. That's one of the reasons I don't go to church. I don't believe you have to go to church to experience that.
An all-seeing, all-knowing God.
Yeah. Or not even just that, but like to learn, like I don't believe you have to read the Bible or go somewhere to learn those lessons. Like I can learn those lessons day in and day out.
Especially the moral lessons in the Bible. You can just walk down the street and watch, like, okay, don't do that because that person seems to not have a good grasp on reality. Yep. Don't do that because that person seems unhappy. That's a way easier way to like pull morals out of your own environment. Yeah. And then be like, I don't want to be, and I'm not picking on anybody because I'm in the scuzzy, shitty apartments or whatever, but like, you don't want to be the person in the shitty trailer in the trailer court. You don't want to be...
You just want the woman that lives in there.
Fuck yeah. It's all dilemmas, baby. It's all, you know. Sometimes those are just fucking smoking hot, too. I just forgot about all the good stuff I just taught. And then all I'm thinking about is fucking trailer ladies. It's too bad. It's too bad. I could have learned something this episode. Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
It's cool. What if you're the reason I've been so bad my whole life? Is I just see you like, you just don't do anything bad. I'm like, this motherfucker. There's an offset in the world, dude. He's throwing the ball. Not even boring. You're just good. You're just good. Like,
too good, you have to be bad?
Yeah, I have to fucking make it and show you and then trick you and tempt you into it. I've got you on some pretty risque websites, so.
Yeah. Try that lifestyle.
And you're enjoying it, aren't you?
Yeah. I'll go on there and scan through the photos every now and again.
Yes.
Still haven't gotten any real hits on there.
Do you have your picture with your nipples covered up with flowers on there?
Donuts. But no, I
Donuts. No? See, if you did.
probably should.
Yeah, I mean.
Get a little nibble.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you guys about something I forgot about.
Oh, sweet.
Uh-oh.
So, about 3 weeks ago,
Okay.
Sarah and I laying in bed watching a movie.
I like how this starts.
No, watching a show. We weren't watching a movie. And
Is this how you judge how
we were
long
on-
the experience lasted? Was that it was during the commercials or something?
36 and a half minutes.
He's got a stopwatch, dude. Bang.
Anyway, we're watching like on the Roku channel or something because you still get commercials. And there was an actual advertisement for it was this Asian guy on there. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but he's advertising the perfect neck pillow or whatever. And he's like, you can cuddle with it, you can blah, 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 you can put it on your neck. And it shows it, and it's just a woman's bust. It's just this...
Titties.
It's titties with nipples, obviously. And Sarah was like, my God, like, who would buy a fucking boob pillow? And I was like, that's ridiculous. And then we went on watching her show, and I got on my phone. And I immediately ordered the boob pillow. $16.99. So about a week ago, I was hoping I'd get
So
the
that
package.
was that your picture you sent? The boob pillow?
Yeah, that's mine.
Oh my fuck, dude! I
Yeah.
thought that was just some stock photo of
No.
it sitting on a table or something. Dude.
No.
That's so awesome.
I was like, look what I got or something like that. Yeah.
I thought you, built it.
No.
I thought it was like you put 2 balloons under a t-shirt again.
No.
Like we discussed.
Oh wow.
No, this is like the grown-up version of that.
Oh, there you
Is
go.
it?
But it's like D-cup pillow titties.
Yeah, and it's a
like,
pillow, or is it rubber, or what is
it's
it?
a pillow. It's like memory
And
foam,
you just fucking
dude.
put your head on the titties.
Yeah.
Or your stuff between.
I'm actually, like, if you actually put your neck on, it actually feels really good. But I mean, like,
Well, yeah, dude.
Sarah's like, that's not going in our bed. Like, that's not.
Well,
that's
and
so
then just
creepy.
tell her, be like, well, can I just put my head between your titties then? Like,
Yeah.
that seems to be
So-
the workaround for this.
I just thought it was so funny. I had to order it, and it came in the mail when she was on lunch,
Oh, perfect.
and so it was like, in like that. You
You're
know,
like the guy getting excited on the Christmas Story when he gets the leg lamp. He's like,
Yeah.
ha ha! Look at that! Look at there, right
Look
there.
at there, yeah. But she could tell. She's like,
She already knew what it
what
was.
the fuck is this? Like, this is shaped really strange. And so I told her what it was, and she's like, oh, God, what is wrong with you? The only thing is it was supposed to come in a flesh color, and it came in yellow. I was
That's
like,
just
what the hell?
never mind.
So,
With that, folks, I'd say that's a fucking episode.
So we had our
Glad to have fucking Sean back on the show and doing at least a episode. You never know, might have to give him the old woo, the old
that's all up to you guys.
woo. We'll just have to. You'll have to
We'll have to see.
next week if he's here.
If I come back with a black eye, Bryce got a hold of me, so.
It'll be like the Rick and Morty episode at the end. And I fucking told you how hard it is to kill snakes. Anyway,
We're talking about Fancy Tickles. You can't come back. Here's proof.
that's right. We fucking love you. Again, like, subscribe, and please share our post from Facebook. Same thing for YouTube. Like, subscribe, share, the whole thing. We need to boost this thing up. I got bills, and this thing pays 0 of them so far. Not saying that that's like a requirement, but boy howdy, I would have some pretty good content. And I'd probably spend a lot of the money on stupid shit to show you guys on the camera. So it's not like you're, not going to get some of that investment back.
That's true.
What if people dared you guys to do shit?
Bring it the fuck on. Triple
Or
dog
I'll
dares.
come on. I'll do it.
That's
you know?
right. How deep we going to get? Because I am not
I mean,
sexually
no,
unmotivated
not
in
next.
any...
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You get what I'm saying. So, with that, folks, we love you. That's another episode, and we're just this close to episode 50. Stay tuned. Hopefully the lights stay on for 50. What I think is going to happen is halfway through episode 49, power's gonna drop. And be like, that sucks.
Fucking
right?
grid failure.
That's dumb. And then you go outside and you're like, well, there's just no lights
damn.
anywhere. And then anyway, and then you find out it's apocalypse time.
We can just
So we
do it on party lines.
We'll be on a roof with torches acting out Fancy Tickles. And this is where the camera used to be. But have fun, folks. Tune in next week. We'll probably do some more posts this week. So keep your eyeballs open and your hearts open to our sexual deviant ways and our moral objections to nothing. Is that good? That's good. That seems good.
There we go.
Yeah, that was it. I love you.
Bye, guys.